Hello and welcome to my Bolt EUV. I'm Jim and we're going from point A to point B. So climb in, let's go. For today we're going to talk about the 22,500 mile report and some other truths about the cost of ownership. The cost of operating an EV is always something that seems to be very contentious, especially when you listen to those in the anti-EV segment. The anti-EV industry seemingly publishes more misinformation about the cost of EV ownership than there are stars in the sky. Outright lies about range, fiction about battery life, false information about battery fires, the things they pull out of midair about the total cost of ownership, the list could go on for the next hour and a half. The anti-EV propaganda machine reminds me of the Soviet Union touting the dangers of capitalism back in the 1950s and 60s. They even used the very same playbook because it is the capitalism that is leading the way in the EV revolution, specifically Tesla. Tesla went from a nobody and with virtually no value in 2010 to the most valuable car company in the world. They are worth $798 billion. While compared to the venerable GM, that's only worth $46 billion. So it is only fitting that the group that stands to lose the most in this battle, which is Big Oil, would go after the free wheels of capitalism and the leader in the EV revolution. They are even attacking one of Elon Musk's other properties, X, and that is the leader in the area of free speech. This very video that I'm publishing right now is pushing the boundaries of what is acceptable on YouTube. It could be easily taken down because it promotes free speech and capitalism. But moving back to what we're talking about, today we're going to look at the cost of EV ownership, specifically my 2023 Bolt EUV. I will take you through every single dime that I've spent on maintenance and every single penny that I've spent on electrical power to charge my car. From the very second that I drove it off the lot back in February of this year to the end of 22,500 miles. I will show you the cost comparison for a comparable ICE vehicle, specifically the 2016 Honda Accord that shares the garage with my Bolt EUV. After we get done examining the total cost of ownership through 22,500 miles, we're going to tackle another issue that the anti-EV industry smears owners with, and that's the true cost of a new battery. But before we begin any of that, I just want to let you know that my wife and I are planning a trip over the new year, and that trip and my daily driving between now and then will take the Bolt well past 25,000 miles. I will be documenting the entire trip over the new year, so stay tuned for that when we return from the trip. I will document every charger and every charging session in as much detail as possible. My next mileage update video will be at 30,000 miles. But first, the factual information about my costs, not the stuff you get from the anti-EV keyboard warriors here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and other social media platforms. So let's begin with the 22,500 mile report. Here we go. All right, so let's take a look at the actual costs at 22,500 miles. $1,125.14 for charging, both on the road and at home, including all taxes. $71.90 in maintenance, that's for tire rotations and the new cabin air filter, for a total of $1,197.04. Looking at the average cost for an ICE vehicle at 22,500 miles, gasoline at 28 miles per gallon would be $2,812.50. Maintenance would be a little more because you're going to have 3 oil changes to factor in there, $221.90 for a total of $3,034.40. And when you average that out, the cost per mile for my Bolt EUV is 5.3 cents per mile, but for an ICE vehicle, it's 13.5 cents per mile. This is based on the 2016 Honda Accord that sits in the garage right next to my Bolt EUV. Let's talk about the CO2 numbers for these two vehicles. My Bolt EUV has used 6,257.05 kilowatt hours of electricity, and that includes the inefficiency and power losses between the charger and the car. At 0.857 pounds of CO2 per kilowatt hour, which is the national average, that comes to 5,362.29 pounds of CO2 added to the atmosphere. Here in Florida, our electrical mix is much higher on the renewables, so my actual numbers are much lower, but I'm going to stick with the national average of 0.857 pounds per kilowatt hour, just to be fair. The ICE vehicle will have used 803.57 gallons to go 22,500 miles. At 20.35 pounds of CO2 per gallon, that is 16,352.86 pounds. These are the facts. These are the actual numbers. If you want to dispute them, then you better come to me with a degree in natural science and meteorology, and you better be able to provide actual scientific evidence. Otherwise, you have the numbers. Carry on. Now let's talk about one of my favorite things, battery replacement costs. While preparing for this story, I had a troll try to tell me that it would cost more than $20,000 to replace the battery on my Bolt should it be needed. All I can say is what a moonbat. And I say that with all malice. If you're going to troll this channel, do not show up at a battle of the wits unarmed. I don't like beating up on the weak-minded, but you really leave me without a choice. I can let you spew your lies and get away with it, or I can simply destroy you with facts. So here we go. The facts. The cost of the battery. As of December 15th, 2023, the cost of a new battery for a Bolt EUV from General Motors is $13,641.10. The freight to get it from General Motors to my location is $695. The labor to remove and install the new battery is $1,800, and the cost of the new coolant and other shop materials is $175. Taxes would be $1,249.29, thereby making the total all-in cost for a battery replacement on a Bolt EUV today at my location $17,560.39. But wait, there's more. The going scrap rate for a lithium-ion battery, that is the black mass, is about $7.50 per pound. Taking away all the non-battery materials, this means your scrap battery is worth about $6,000 to a lithium-ion battery recycler. They will get upwards of $12 a pound for the black mass that they pull from the battery, along with the other rare earth metals that are in the battery, like cobalt and nickel. And since this is not a battery replacement from General Motors, the old battery is yours. You get to dispose of it properly, and you get the money from the cost of that disposal. And there are lithium-ion battery recyclers here in the United States, one in New York and one in Texas, that are taking these batteries in by the thousands, and you can make money from that. So taking that into consideration, your overall costs are probably going to be closer to $11,000 or $12,000 for a battery replacement. Nowhere near $20,000. So, Mr. Troll, take that and go crawl back under your rock. I'm tired of hearing your lies on my channel. So here's a bit more information about the trip in January. We're going to be taking a 3-state jaunt through Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. Total trip will be about 1,200 miles, and we're planning on 9 or 10 charging stops. I will document each stop in detail, focusing on the amount of time it takes to charge. There's going to be 1 or possibly 2 overnight charges at hotels, and I will only document the amount of electricity added, not the cost or the time, because this type of charging does not add to the overall time of the trip. There's going to be some charging challenges when we get into the wiregrass there in Alabama because of limited chargers and the overall cost of charging sessions. Several of the potential charging candidates are at car dealerships. One dealership in particular charges a $5 hookup fee and 69 cents per kilowatt hour. I'll likely not be charging at that location unless it's an absolute must. As always, thank you for stopping by my Bolt EUV. Remember to subscribe, share, comment, and like, and hit that notification bell if you want to be reminded when I'm uploading something new. Remember to treat everyone with kindness, even the trolls. Put a smile on your face, help someone today, and pay it forward when someone does the same. I hope to see you again real soon or somewhere along that route from point A to point B. Take it easy, everybody, and happy holidays.